Hey guys, hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's video, I am going to do a real-time digital assessment that was sent to me by Emirates Career Groups. So a couple of weeks ago, I applied for Emirates customer service roles, and I got this email from them saying, congratulations, you've made it through the second step of the recruitment, and now I have to do a digital assessment. So what is a digital assessment? So basically they're going to ask me a set of questions that I need to answer, but there is no physical person sitting there to see. It's going to be recorded, right? So it's a real time simulation of how an interview should be, and you need to record yourself. So I'm going to be doing that right now, and we'll publish this video, and hopefully you will see how I answer them and what kind of questions they ask. So stay tuned. So even though it's a virtual interview, you need to dress up professionally. So as you can see, I'm wearing a blazer and I put on light makeup on my face just to, feel confident and make myself look like I can work for Emirates, right? We've seen how gorgeous the Emirates staff looks. So this is not a cabin crew interview. It's strictly customer service roles. As I've told you, I do not know the exact designation because I don't know if I have a job yet or not. So I'm just reading my first question on the screen. I have 1 minute to prepare and put my thoughts together. Once I'm ready, I can hit the video record button and I can begin. And I have around 3 minutes to answer the question. The time limit to answer the question is 3 minutes, and it's perfectly acceptable if you finish under 3 minutes. You do not need to extend your answer. If you think you're done, you're done. That's what I was told in the beginning in the introductory video that was shown. So here we go. Let's answer the question. The questions will be displayed here on the screen. So in my most recent role as an assistant property management, we had this major policy change that required us to move from a manual tenant record keeping system to a digital system, and the deadline to complete all of that was 1 month. So what I did, firstly, I scheduled an appointment with the vendor and I first trained myself on how to use that technology. And then I, broke down the steps into very manageable ones. I then trained my team on how to use the software. And then we promptly communicated this information to the residents to let them know we're moving from a manual system to a digital system. And it's very important for them to make sure their information is up to date, and we have a certain deadline to do so. So as a result of prompt communication and me taking the initiative to learn the system myself and then training my team, we saved a lot of time and we were way ahead of our deadline. And we managed to, increase the productivity and efficiency. And the tenants were really happy because the transition went really, really smooth because of my proactiveness in seeking the training myself first, and then telling the team, and then breaking it down for the residents to understand why it was important and how to navigate through the new system. The good part about this is that I'm given 2 chances to record myself, and here I'm doing a playback so you can hear. Move from a manual tenant record keeping system to a digital system. So if you're not happy with the first version of the answer, please feel free to re-record yourself and upload it. But remember, only 2 chances. I did not really go for the second one. I was like, okay, what better I can come up with? So I just went ahead and did everything in one shot. Tell us about a time you effectively handled a difficult situation with either a colleague or a customer by understanding the situation, what you did, and the outcome. So either a colleague or a customer man. So there was this time where an elderly resident, she was very difficult to deal with, and she had some underlying health issues that made her feel very hot, and she was always very hot temperature wise. So what happened is the AC unit inside her unit broke down, and there was a delay from the contractor's side because a part was missing, and there was nothing that we could do or fasten the process. And she came to me because I was working in property management, and she explained how frustrated she was. So what I did, I listened to her and I empathized with her frustration, and I told her that there's nothing that we can do and it's not in our control, but to the best of my ability I tried to understand her situation, and whatever help I could offer at the time, I asked my superintendent to check if we have like a tower fan or something in our storage that we can loan her, because I was very sure, I was assured by the contractor that everything will be done in 2 days. So I had that confirmation. It was only a matter of 2 days that I need to keep this lady calm and make sure that we're doing something, and her health is important to us as well. So I gave her that tower fan, and that really offered her a temporary relief, and she was very thankful, and she understood that even though it was not in my control, I went above and beyond and arranged things for her. She was very thankful. She was not complaining afterwards. So my experience from this was to listen to the person and empathize with them. The customer is always right, but you have to have your way around to make sure it works for both parties. The building I was working at, if you need to do any parties, so the policy was the owner needs to book a party guard for the event, and the charges were on top of whatever the rental fee was. So I had this owner who denied, and he said, "What's the use of the party guard, and why do we have such crazy rule?" So I explained to him that you're the owner and we're maintaining your asset as a property management team, and when you hire a party guard, the party guard takes care of all the traffic, the incoming visitor traffic that is important to maintain, because you're having a party but other people's, they have their own things going on. They live here, so they want to make sure nobody is disturbing the quiet enjoyment of other residents in the building. So I explained to them the importance of party guard, that even I told them that if they have a problem during the party, they can always communicate to the party guard, and they can get in touch with the management to have their complaints resolved promptly. So it was difficult at first, but then when I told that it's only going to benefit them because it'll be hassle free, the guard can guide their guests to appropriate rooms, and the guests will not get lost. If they want to use any amenities during the event, the guard will have access control with them, and everything can be managed very smoothly. So this rule was one of the difficult rules to enforce, because the residents had to pay for the guard services. So I told them it's minimum 4 hours, and if you extend, you can pay later on. But to begin with, this is why we have this rule. It's for your own enjoyment and safety concerns. And let's say if you don't have a party and your neighbor has a party, and if he doesn't hire a party guard, how would you feel if you have a lot of traffic in the gateway, if you have random people visiting your building, and you don't know, at least if you have a guard, that everything is being safeguarded and everything's being managed. So he understood my perspective, and he understood why this rule was implemented and why it's important. So at the end, he hired the party guard, and he followed all the rules and regulations that were mentioned in the party agreement. So there was an elderly resident who wanted a bigger parking spot, because her parking spot was very tight, and she had this knee surgery, and she needed a bigger parking spot. So what she did, she called us in the management office, and she asked if this is the parking spot I've noticed for a few days. It's a young couple that uses it. Can I exchange my parking spot with this particular resident? And I told that we do not control this particular exchange. All units have their own parking spots, and it's literally up to the residents to communicate with themselves. And if they have some sort of verbal agreement, we will just update our system that for the time being, this person is using this other person's parking spot. So this was not really my job to intervene, but because she requested very politely, she was an elderly resident and she had some trouble communicating due to language barriers, I stepped in and I called the other unit owner, and I explained them that there's this lady. Of course, I didn't give any specific details due to privacy issues, but I did tell that there's a resident who's struggling and they need to borrow their parking spot temporarily until they feel a little better. So if it's okay for them to switch, and they agreed. And then I made both the parties do a little email exchange that I agreed to use your parking spot, and we temporarily updated the system. So although it was not my job to really coordinate this sort of arrangement between two owners or between two residents, I did do that, and the elderly lady was very thankful to me for understanding her situation and for doing something that was not really my job. She was very satisfied, and every day when she used the big parking spot, she felt thankful. And I not only did that, I also instructed my security team members to, allow her easy access and make sure she's comfortable. If ever she calls, there's a problem in her unit, to promptly address that, because she was still recovering from a very invasive surgery. So yeah, the outcome of this exceptional service was the resident was very happy and very thankful to the management team for empathizing and being sympathetic towards her. So a stressful situation. There was a time in peak summer where the chiller system broke down and the residents were frustrated. The management office was getting phone calls, very angry, very rude. They were abusive to the team as well, saying that it's us who's not repairing the air conditioning unit. And what the problem was, that there was a delay in some part that was coming all the way from China, and it wasn't really in our control to have it fixed. So we were continuously getting abused, and my administrative team was like totally tired and fed up of receiving those angry calls. So what I did was I discussed with the board of directors that if we maintain a certain level of transparency and communicate what exactly is happening and keeping the residents informed, maybe we will reduce the volume of phone calls. Because at the end of the day, all the customers want, or all the residents want, is to be informed and just not to keep them in darkness if there is. So what I did, I prepared a notice, sat down with my team and said, okay, let's prepare a notice saying that, we're receiving high volume of calls and we understand how frustrating it is, but this is the situation, the part is delayed, and this is the expected timeline. And for the time being, we are arranging for a rental chiller, but the cost to do so is this so and so. We just gave a rough estimate, and that's why we need time to get quotation from different vendors, because at the end of the day, we are saving their money because they own the unit. So we don't want to get something expensive and then later on increase your maintenance fee because we did that. So we were very transparent. We communicated this, and trust me, it really reduced the number of phone calls, because all those phone calls were, why is the AC not being fixed? And they understood now, because we communicated to them that this is what we're doing, this is what we have done so far, and this is what is expected. So they understood how hard we were working, and at the end, everybody was like, okay, do what you got to do, but fix this and we will not bother you. And I also put a little disclaimer that, be respectful to the staff, because we're all working hard and this is a very stressful time for all of us. We at the management office don't even have air conditioning as well, so we're on the same boat. So yeah, we were able to resolve navigate through a stressful situation like this by properly communicating and keeping them informed of our actions and the expectations. As an assistant to the property management team, we needed to prepare the new budget at the beginning of before the beginning of the new fiscal year. And there is a time in November that gets really busy because the management team is really involved in making the budget, gathering all the information. So at that time, during that period, there were high volume of tenant complaints, resident complaints, all sorts of maintenance activities that were going on. So what I did, I created a very detailed schedule of all the ongoing activities and the upcoming activities. Then I had a weekly meeting, a beginning of the week meeting with my team, and I delegated those tasks, that if this happens, you need to do that. Unless and until it's super urgent, I should not be bothered. And I gave them a list of tasks that fall under the criteria of urgency or emergency that would require my immediate attention. And I also discussed of common scenarios that residents would usually reach out to me and ask. And I told my admin team or the security team, even my cleaning team, that if this issue happens, this is how you need to resolve. And I would rather be comfortable with them reaching out to me instead of the residents directly walking into my office, and the issue turns out to be really petty and it could be solved through them. So I made my team comfortable that they can communicate with me, no problem. They can walk into my office, ask me anything. But when it comes to residents walking into the office, I want them to face them first, note down the query, and if it really is urgent, then you reach out to me. Otherwise, because I needed to complete this budget, I needed to present to the board of directors, get it approved, and then circulate it with the owners. So by doing that, a lot of minimum petty tasks were controlled. The residents were comfortable, also got comfortable talking to other members of the team. They were not really dependent on me being present there all the time. So it not only opened the door to communication with other team members, but it also maximized productivity, and I was able to complete the budget 2 weeks before the deadline, and we circulated it on time. So everything was well managed, and the tenants were properly communicated that the property manager or the assistant management team is not to be disturbed during this time. So they were very, very cooperative. This section contains 2 games for you to complete. These games are meant to be a fun way for you to show us your abilities. Each game has its own time limit and set of instructions that you will be able to read before starting. Remember, you can take a break in between each game. Okay, so I'm just finished with the assessment. So I want to tell you that there were total 6 questions. And then there are 2 games in the very end. The first game will be like they will show you like numbers, like a sequence of number. For example, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then there will be a keypad. So once they will show you the number just once, it will be like, how you enter a password and everything is like blanked out, like as you type. So you need to remember it. And then you have to key in those numbers. So let's say if on the screen I'm being shown 1, and then the number 1 disappears, 2 disappears, 3 disappears, 4 disappears, and then the timer will start, and you are going to plug in those exact that exact sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, and if it's correct, the screen will be like ding, like with a check sign, with a green sign, which means you're correct. If it's not, it will be like boing with a cross sign, so it means you're not correct. So they're like multiple. As you progress in the game, the difficulty level increases, because then they start giving you a longer sequence, but it's not that tough if you just keep on like as they type. If you memorize it, it's not that tough. I got 1 wrong in it because it has numbers, and it has alphabets as well. So I think I got like the really long alphabet one wrong. So the second game is going to be, I found it a little tricky. So what they did on the screen, they showed like cubes, and the cubes had different patterns inside. So I needed to match 2 cubes together, and if they match, ding, if they don't match, wrong. So that I found a little tricky because it was not straightforward. Like while looking at the screen, some of them were like rotating, moving. So it was really tough to say like which one is matching. I think I got 2 or 3 wrong in that section. I found that a little like, I don't know, it was a little weird, but I think if you can crack it, it's easy as well. But for me, it was a little tricky. So I don't know how I will be evaluated, because it was just a fun way of seeing maybe your attentiveness, or how you perceive things, or your reasoning, or how you can memorize stuff. I'm not sure what kind of skill they were trying to get through that, but overall it was good. Now, as soon as I finished, I got an email from Emirates saying, successful submission. And now I'm on their website right now, and it says there's a breakdown of what to expect next. Now, I want to mention that I applied for this customer service role back in September 2024, to be precise, September 25th. And I got this digital assessment email yesterday, and we are in 2025. It was January 10th yesterday. So you can see, I mean, you apply to Emirates and then boom, you have to forget, because one day they'll just send you something. So the first step is, of course, applying to the role. The second step is the recruitment team will review your application. And if you are shortlisted, the third step is that they send you this digital assessment. Now they're going to review everything. This is the most crucial step because you need to do it. You need to do your best. And fourth step is that a member of the recruitment team will get in touch with you and offer you the employment. Of course, if you get selected. So I did my assessment on January 11th, and on January 13th, I got this email from the recruiter, and she's telling me that great news that they've started reviewing the application, and I need to wait 20 to 30 business days for the entire evaluation to complete. So while I wait, they're asking me to upload the following documents. Now, when they say upload, you do not have to send these documents, as a reply to this email, but you need to go to your Emirates career page where you have your profile made and then upload it there. Now, number one is your highest level of degree, then copy of the passport, copy of the CV, and a recently taken full-length photo with a big smile. We're going to get to this later. And copy of your UAE ID. So I was in UAE at the time of this application. However, I was on a tourist visa, so I didn't have any ID on me. So obviously, I didn't upload that. But let's say you've already been in UAE, you have an Emirates ID, you just upload that. Now, they're telling you after you have uploaded all of this, now how would the recruiter know? So you need to respond to this email as a confirmation. And also answer these questions that are listed here. Okay, so, and make sure that you submit everything and respond to this email within 5 days following the receipt of this email. So I did everything the next day. And with this email, there are 2 attachments that you get. So the first attachment is the Uniform Standards Declaration form. So as you may have heard that Emirates is very particular about appearance, and any sort of tattoo, marking, or any sort of scarring in the visible areas of the body. So the visible areas are the ones that you see in gray. If you have any sort of tattoo, marking, or anything, that is different from your skin tone, you need to declare that. So this is very important. Now, in my case, obviously, I was following this image here. So I don't have any tattoos. However, I have a very little, around 2 centimeters surgery scarring on my left knee, and really towards the left side of the knee, not really in the front. So I wrote this here. I put 2 centimeters, the location left knee, and here I put the design. It's a surgery, like a fading surgery scar. So this is what I put, and then put my name, date, signature. Now, application number is the email that you get from the recruiter. It includes your application number, so you can copy it from there. So this is also one of the attachments that you need to upload in the portal, like on the portal. Now, second one is really, really important. This is your photograph. So they have given standards. They've provided you standards, guidelines of how the photo should look like. So I highly recommend that you get these photos done in a professional studio. So the first 2 photographs are your business attire, and this is how it should be looking. Please read this very carefully. And the second set of photos will be your casual photographs. So please refer to these guidelines and, take them to your photographer and get them done. So this is also these photographs are also going to be uploaded on the portal. So this is my passport size photo. As you can see, I have a open smile with red lip, visible makeup. You can see my eyeshadow, you can see my mascara, my liner, and this is the full length business attire. So I'm wearing skin colored stockings, wearing heels, and again, you can see the makeup. So keep in mind, no jewelry, nothing except like little earrings, the studs that the Emirates staff wear, and you need to have your hair neatly done in a bun. So this is for the business attire.